Hi crafters, this is Crafty Sabby and I'm back today with a tutorial. I recently got a beautiful Happy Mail package from my friend and our friend, little Rhonda Lee here on YouTube. And hi Rhonda. So this is inspired by something that she sent me in the package, and it was these. Okay, and forgive me, I don't know the actual name of these. I call them coin envelopes. They might be something different because of the flap. But anyhow, there's these envelopes that you can get, probably already pre-made. I'm sure if you looked Amazon, Etsy, I'm guessing you would probably find these. But they're envelopes with this flap in the front, and these particular ones, and it's really hard to see, have like a perforated sort of edge that you could cut off if you needed to. So I'm not exactly sure entirely what the actual purpose is. I turned it into something obviously crafty, so I kind of like the idea that it had a flap on it. So, and I know up until I got the package, I didn't have any of these myself, and so many of you might not. So I am going to show you how to make one today. And I actually like this particular size, so we're just going to kind of go along with it. The only difference in the way that I've done it is that this flap that I'm going to show you how to make, I elongate it a little more, and I use this part of the envelope here as a tuck, so that your flap can fit in, so that's not flapping all over that when you put it in your journal. So, so that's how those look. I believe I've even seen them in like a sort of manila color, you know, that orange or yellow color. So you probably can get them white or yellow. So that's the base of our project. So here's one that I decorated that was exactly like the one that Rhonda sent me, so with the shorter flap. And this is actually one of them. So I just used some paper. I inked around all the edges, nothing too fancy. I have a doily back there. There's some eyelash trim, some lace. I put a little ribbon around mine. This is a little card that I got from AliExpress, and a very vintage button on there. And I think it turned out really cute. And then when you open the flap, that's just the top. I covered this inside with paper, and that's the inside. I haven't put anything in there yet, but I will. And that's the back. So that's just a copy of some vintage ephemera that I have. So I think they're really, really sweet. I would add a really cute addition to your journals. You can put them in a pocket. You could make it a pocket. You could just glue that side down to your page. So possibilities are endless, really. And so there's that. And then this is one that I created where I made it out of, and so you don't have to use like a hard paper. These have a little more rigidity to them. The paper's a little thicker here, but you know, I think it's a little thicker than copy paper. So that got me to thinking what else I could use. So here I used just a big sheet of ledger paper. I had some old ledger paper that was already coffee stained. And here's my version where I just make the flap a little bit longer, and I'm able to tuck it and not glue down this part as much. And then we're able to tuck it right in there so it won't flop open now. So that's just the way I decorated this one. Just put some paper on top, just a little bit of layering there, the ticket. And this one's rather plain. I haven't done anything to the top. I just put a little, did a little sewing, some collaging. I got these little stamp stickers from AliExpress too. That's the inside of the pocket. That tucks right into there. Oops, and that's the back. So really cute, not too thick. They'll just fit right into your journal without a problem. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and work on one of these together. So what you're gonna need is to cut down a piece of paper. Are we focused? To 8 on the short side by 12.5. So now some of you already might be thinking, well, forget it. I don't have paper that's large enough to cut down. So I've told you I've used ledger paper. Whatever you can find will work. If you don't have a piece of paper big enough to cut to 12.5, if you don't have a piece that's big enough, you can watch this process if you'd like, or skip ahead a little bit, because I'm going to show you how you can make one of these without using that big piece of paper. So the size that we're going to do right now, I will show you how you can still make this project in sort of 2 parts and glue your flap on, and you'll never notice. So just stick with me here and stay tuned for that part, because I'll show you a couple different ways you can do it. For the time being, we're going to go ahead and do it this way. So get your 8.5, or sorry, your 8 by 12.5 piece of paper cut down. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is get out your scoreboard. And we'll do some scoring here. Okay, so on the short side, which is the 8-inch side, you're going to want to put that in there. And I'll try to bring you closer so that I can show you the numbers here. Boy, okay, there we go. So that's the short side, the 8-inch side. You're going to want to score at 3 1/4. So here you are, 1, 2, 3 1/4. So the first black line with the dot above it, so that's where you're going to want to go and score all the way down. Sorry about that noise, they're watching movies upstairs. And the next score mark that you're going to want to make is 6 7/8. So we're just going to scooch over here a little bit. So that was 3 1/4. Now you want to go to 6 7/8. So you'll count every line here. The blue one, then the black one, the blue one. So you want to go 7, 8, 6 7/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is right here. So the blue line right before your 7, and you want to score all the way down. That leaves you with 1 inch here. Okay, so then you want to rotate your paper to the long side. And on the long side, you're going to want to score at 1 inch. So right here. So 1 inch. And 7. So this one is easy. 1 and 7. And that's it for that. Okay. Let's see if I can't zoom you back out now. Okay. So it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but I'm going to show you some that I've already sort of penned up here so you can see the lines a little better. So now you want to cut out sort of the unnecessary parts, okay? So we're just going to pretend that this is the one that I just scored. So your score lines, I don't know how well you're going to see them on the one we just did. So we have, oh my goodness, we have one that goes here and one that goes here, and this is where you have the 1 inch on this side. That's the long side. You have one that goes through the middle, and then you have the one on the bottom. That's another 1 inch down there. Okay, so you're gonna need to cut out a bunch of parts here. So we'll start at the top. And so the only parts that you need here, so this is that middle score line right here. You're gonna wanna cut out this entire left side here. So you don't need this entire panel. So this is the score line. This line that goes all the way down, that's the score line that I made. You want to cut this panel out, and then you want to leave that second panel, the whole thing right there. And then this is the third panel right here. You want to cut that one out. Okay? And then I'll show you an example so it's not too confusing. And then if you move it this way, that's still the middle center score line that we made. You want to leave all three of those panels. Okay, and this is that 1 inch that we have down here. And down here, you want to remove the very left-hand panel up to here. Okay, all of that. You want to leave this one, and you want to remove this little bit right here. Okay, so again, really quick, this is the top, the 8-inch side right here. You want to remove this entire panel, and this little 1 inch, this one here, this whole thing to the middle score line. So cut and cut, and then cut and cut. So that whole thing. And then you want to leave 1, 2, and 3. And then down below where you have the 1 inch score line, you want to remove this panel and this. So what you're going to be left with then is something that looks like this. What's the easiest way to show you? Let's see if I can back out just a little more. Okay, this is what you have left. So if it fits right there, you removed that and that. And you removed that and that. Okay, I'm gonna actually cut one out with you just to show you now. I just wanted to show you that so you can kind of get a head start. All right, so I'm gonna do this pretty quickly. So we'll start at the top here. So that's, it's gonna be hard to see now, but that's the big panel. I'm just gonna cut that one right out. Okay, so that's the first panel. And then we don't need the little block that's here. So we'll cut that one out. Okay, so we're left with that now. And then we're going to leave 1, 2, and 3. But down here, we need to remove this one and this one. So now here, this is going to actually be our flap. So I'm going to taper a little bit towards the inside. So here's my, let's see. Okay, there's my score line. So I just want to taper a little bit. So what I want to do is actually go in on a little bit of an angle on the block that you're keeping towards the little point there where the score lines meet. Just a tiny bit. I just think it finishes off things a little better. So I just want on the inside there like that. And then you'll want to do the same thing for that other little side right there. So we're going to make a little flap because eventually this is going to turn up and you want it to look nice and pretty. So now we just want to cut off the rest of this panel. There, and this little block on the other side. Just like that. So now that's what you're left with. So this is also going to get folded in, this little 1 inch side here. And if you want to go ahead, you can taper those off a little bit also. Again, just a little bit towards the inside. Just like that. Okay, so now if you notice on, what did I do with it? On the original envelope, you'll notice that the flap, it tapers in a little bit here and it narrows as it goes towards the bottom. So you can see how it sits on the envelope. So I like that. I don't like that it's just a flat piece. So I'm going to show you how you, so you, at this point, you could go ahead and just leave this flap like this. It doesn't really matter. This is the one that's going to turn down on itself. Or you could just bear with my yammering for another minute and I'll show you how to taper that. At your, so this is your top flap now, okay? This, and you want to just lay it out in front of you just as it is, because you're going to work on it from like the inside. So I'm just going to make this score line a little darker so that you can see it. So that's our score line, okay? This is where it's going to fold down on itself. So from that score line, you want to draw another pencil line up an inch. So if you have a handy Tim Holtz ruler, you could just place at your 1 inch mark here down on your score line and then just draw a line across. If not, you just use your ruler and you go up an inch here and up an inch here and then just draw your line across, okay? So we'll just go ahead and do that now. Really quick. Just want to do it lightly. So there it is. There's our 1 inch little line. And now what I'm going to ask you to do is make a couple of tick marks about 1/8 of an inch inward on that line. So just make an 1/8 of an inch dot there and there. So 1/8 of an inch is the very first dotted line here on your ruler. Okay, that's it. You just need a smidge to go in, a smidge. That's what I call a smidge, 1/8 of an inch. So I'll just make a little mark there and move this over a little and make a little mark there. Okay, so just go in there and there. You're going to want to put your ruler on the corner point. Where are we here? Right here. The little intersection of where your score lines are. So right there. And then you're going to want to put your ruler on that dot and you want to draw a line there. Let's see if I can't get a little closer. Show you what I'm saying. We'll put our ruler here and we'll draw a line to here, okay? So just put your ruler on the dot there, right into the corner and draw a line. Okay, and the same thing over here, from our little dot to the corner and draw a line. Okay, and then the original envelope, it kind of tapers in as you go. If you just use your ruler again and from that little 1/2 inch, or sorry, 1/8 inch dot, you could just continue that straight down on your flap and just draw a line because we're going to cut that bit off anyways, okay? And I'll show you on this side here. That's my dot. And I'm just gonna put my ruler down here and I'm gonna draw a line 1/2 inch, still 1/2 inch up to the top of my flap there, okay? And we're gonna cut that bit away. So just like that, okay? So that's what we have. We have our lines. It's a little complicated, I know, I'm sorry, but I like that look. And like I said, feel free to just leave it straight. You don't have to go through all of this if you don't want. Okay, and now at this point, I'm just actually going to cut on the lines that you just made. There. To there. So now we have a tapered flap. Okay. So the only thing left to do is glue. So you need to take your little 1-inch side here and fold it. And fold this one in also. Okay, and you'll also notice on the original one, they do have quite a gap here where it folds. You could increase that one panel if you'd like to go all the way across. I wanted to kind of stick to the original, and I sort of liked that it was a little off, you know, it just, I don't know, to me it added some kind of character. So I left it like that, so I kind of did it the same way on mine. So at this point you would just need to glue, put some glue on there, close that flap. You'll flip this up. So now at this point, if you want to tuck your flap in, that's the reason why I made it a little longer, is be careful not to glue the whole entire thing down, or else you won't be able to tuck that in, okay? So I would glue just halfway up with this. Just put a little bit of glue right in there and leave this little flappy bit open, okay? If you want to tuck it in. If you accidentally glue it down, you could always trim this flap so that it doesn't need to be tucked in, okay? So you guys are good with the gluing, and that's it. So there you go, you created your envelope. I also I used my little half circle, my circle punch, and I just put a little notch in there because it's a little snug, and if you want to put something in there, you want to be able to get it out easily enough, okay? So I'm just going to really quickly tell you what to do if you don't have a size of paper at a 12.5-inch piece of paper. So really all you would need to do is cut down a piece of paper that's 8 by 7. So that's 8 by 7. On this 7-inch side, you want to score at, you want to put in a 1-inch mark, okay? So really what you're doing is you're going to create this bottom panel without worrying about this flap. So whatever size paper you have, as long as it's 8 inches, 8 by 7 is what you'll need. You could still create this without this part, okay? So on the short side you'll score at 1, and then if you flip it to the 8-inch side, you'll score at 3 1/4 and 6 and 7/8. So you're still creating this line here, that's the short side, that's the 1-inch mark that you make, and then when you do turn it around on the long side, you're gonna put in these score marks, okay, without this. All right, and then if you want to create a flap separately, you could get another sheet of paper, and this piece of paper is 3 5/8 by 6, okay, and then on the long side, right, you're going to want to score at 1/2 inch. So you'll want to make a score line right there at 1/2 inch, okay? And then that's going to be used for creating kind of like a little part that you can put into your, so here, let me show you. Let's just say, for instance, I created that little bottom portion. So that piece that we made out of the, we cut a piece of paper at 8 by 7, right? Let's just say, for instance, that's it. And this is our envelope now. So you're going to create your little envelope like this, right? So you're left with that, okay? You don't have a flap. So we're going to try to create that flap. So you're going to do basically the same process that you saw me do before. You're going to create this little template for yourself, and you're going to do the exact same thing that I did in the first video with the lines. The only difference is you're going to leave yourself an extra 1/2 inch on the bottom, if you can see it there. Okay? So you want to cut a piece of paper to 3 5/8 by 6. You're going to score on the long side at 1/2 inch. And then from that score line that you made, you might want to measure up with your pencil. So there's a score line that you made. You're going to measure up 1 inch, and you're going to make a light pencil line. You're going to do the exact same thing that I showed you on the other video. You're going to make go 1/8 of an inch. So just like here, 1/8 of an inch here and here, and you're going to use your ruler to make your line, and then draw it straight up. Okay, and then you're going to cut that bit out. So then this is what you should have. Okay, so then that little flap is going to be used to glue wherever you would like. You could either glue it on the back of the envelope, so now you have your flap, or you could hide it inside your envelope, so you could tuck it away in there. Same difference, okay? And then you have your flap. I hope that made sense, okay? So it's the exact same thing as what we did over there. Only difference is you're gonna create your envelope without that flap, obviously, and you're gonna leave an extra 1/2 inch on the separate flap that you make, so that you can use it to put right in, okay? So, and then that's it. Once you've glued them together, this is what you have left. They're super fun to make, and like I said, you know, relatively easy, and they're so cute. You can make them out of whatever paper you have, and probably cardstock would be good too. Maybe a little too hard, but I don't know. So really cute. I wish I had made more. I just didn't have time this weekend, but I'm going to make more because these are sweet. I love them. So that's it, you guys. Like I said, if you have any questions or don't understand something that I've done, just let me know and I'll try to clear it up in the comments. And I guess that's it for now. So thank you again, Rhonda, for sending me some lovely things. I'm hoping to go through a few more and come up with some ideas. And so I appreciate that. Hope you guys are all doing well, and we will talk to you real soon, okay? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.